Hi, my name is Dr. Melissa Brown, Chair of the Psychology Department at the College at Brockport.
Hi, Dr. Brown. We do have a question, and if you could just answer, what is the academic emphasis of your program, and what does it prepare graduate students to do?
Our graduate program is designed to give students a broad-based, upper-level, graduate level um, understanding of the field of psychology. Oh, it's got three tracks. We've designed it to have three tracks, and we've designed it so that people can pick this track that will um, they can select the track that reflects their career goals and their interests. We found that we were attracting three types of students. We were getting students who wanted to stay in the field, continue working in the area they had started with their bachelor's degree in psychology, and then we had students who wanted to go on to further graduate studies, get a PhD or a PsyD. Some of the students who wanted to go on wanted to become clinical psychologists, and others wanted to become more basic academic psychologists in areas like social, developmental, cognitive, experimental psychology that did not require clinical skills. So we developed this three-track program. So two of the tracks are designed to provide students with clinical skills. It's the clinical research emphasis track for those students who want to go on and get a PhD in clinical psychology or a PsyD in clinical psychology, or the applied track for people who want to continue to work with a master's degree in psychology in community agencies. The third track is a general track for people who want to go on to get a PhD in psychology who are not interested in clinical work. The tracks differ for their capstone experiences. The folks who are going to have the terminal master's degree and planning on working in the field, their capstone experience is a semester-long practicum in a community agency of their choice. For the folks who want to go on to doctoral study, their capstone experiences are master's theses.
Great. What academic and/or work experience do prospective students need for your program?
We're looking for people to come in who have minimally the equivalent of a minor in psychology, preferably a major in psychology. Oftentimes, given the way the economics are right now, folks are making choices about going to community college, and when it's time for them to apply to graduate school, they haven't put together the portfolio they need to be successful for doctoral study. So what we do is we're a stepping stone to give you some time to develop those skills and those accomplishments that will make people attractive to doctoral study programs. So we're really looking for people who have had minimally three classes in psychology in addition to a statistics course and a research methods course. We want people who are excited and curious about human nature and who have energy and willingness to explore the human nature.
Great. Thanks for the specific information. What can prospective students do to strengthen their application, and what should they avoid in those applications?
Oh, well, that's a good question. One thing you want to make sure, as I said before, you want to make sure you have a statistics course, a research methods course, and at least three content area psychology courses, before you apply. If you do not have that, that doesn't mean that we don't want to take you. It means that maybe you want to go back and gather those classes at the undergraduate level before you apply. We have found that to be successful, our most successful students have GPAs, undergraduate GPAs of 3.0 and above. We have taken people with lower GPAs than that, and occasionally they've been successful, but usually the successful graduate student is someone who's demonstrated a successful path as an undergraduate.
Great. Dr. Brown, whom should applicants ask for letters of recommendation, and what should those letters include?
Okay, actually, I want to go back to the last question because this is something that most people don't know, and it just slipped my mind. One of the things that you don't want to do when you apply to a program, you're going to have to write a letter or statement of purpose explaining why you want to study psychology. We don't want to hear about your psychological problems. That is not a good strategy. It may be why you got really interested and you've successfully conquered them and you want to help other people do that. You don't want to put that in a statement of purpose. We want to know about your intense curiosity about psychology. So what was the next question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Letters of recommendation. All right, we want you to have letters of recommendation from faculty members, people who know your academic work well. We're going to ask for 3 letters of recommendation. 2 of them are ideally from a faculty member who knows you not just from sitting in the back row of the class, but hopefully from somebody that you've had conversations with. Perhaps you've worked with that person, but who knows you so they can say things about you beyond this person came, they got a B plus. Um, Typically, it's never a bad idea if you've had some sort of outside experience. We do like people who have volunteered, who've worked in human service agencies, someone who's seen you interact with people in a helping capacity, especially if you're in one of those 2 clinical tracks, someone who can talk to your people skills.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is the educational experience for students in your program? And can you talk about the academic relationship with faculty members?
Well, I want to start with the academic relationship with faculty members. I'm very proud of the psychology department. I have great faculty, and we love our students. And we are known across campus as being one of the friendliest departments. We have an open door policy. We want to get to know you. We want to collaborate with you. We want to know what your ideas are. We see our job is help you get to the next level and whatever it is that you want to do. Um, the way the program is set up is everyone, regardless of what track you're in, you take the same core courses your first year. Everybody takes research methods, everybody takes statistics, everybody takes psychopathology, everyone takes developmental, social psychology, and biopsych. Because we want everybody to have a broad based understanding of what's going on. But if you're in the thesis track, those first years, you're going to get involved working with the faculty member closely on an area that's of interest to the both of you. So the first semester, you do a very um, directed series of readings to master an empirical literature to help you develop the research question that's going to become your master's thesis. So that first semester, you're going to be reading the literature, meeting with a faculty member, on a weekly, maybe even more frequent basis, helping you develop your question. At the end of that semester, everybody presents their literature reviews and their research idea to the psychology faculty, which is a little intimidating for the students, but when they're done with it, they're grateful for the experience because it just ends up people who are interested in psychology talking about ideas and helping you strengthen your approach to your idea. Um, the second year, if you are in the clinical tracks, you take an additional module of clinical courses. You take a course in applied behavior analysis, a course in cognitive behavior therapy, and a course in assessment. Um, in the ABA classes and the cognitive behavioral therapy classes, you will be taught to develop treatment plans and intervention strategies. In assessment, you'll get hands-on practice giving intelligence tests, personality assessments. And the last year you're there, regardless of, well, if you're in the applied emphasis track, one of those semesters, your second semester, second year, you'll be on your practicum. But if you are in the research tracks, you'll be working on your thesis. A lot of our students have a lot of energy, and they also have a lot of curiosity because that's who we select, the people that we think who are really jazzed by psychology. Not only do they work on their master's thesis, but they get involved in other people's research, work on projects and whatever. Um, Ideally, your time will result in products that are either publishable for your portfolio, for your Vita, or for professional presentations that will also go on your Vita. Things that will help your further graduate applications shine when you choose to go on.
Thank you. Dr. Brown, can you just talk about the academic specialties of your faculty?
Sure. We have wide-ranging interests. So in terms of people who have clinical interests, Dr. Abwender is interested in, this is a mouthful, the neurobiological substrates of personality. He is interested in why some people approach things and go for the golden ring, and other people are much more circumspect and much more cautious in their behavior, and what brain systems determine that, and how you can use that to understand a wide variety of things. One of the things that he's interested in terms of that sort of approach avoidance thing, is personality precursors to Parkinson's disease. Um, and we'll come back to Dr. Abwender. Marcy DeRoche is interested in applied behavior analysis. She's interested in using the precepts of operant conditioning to create intervention strategies to help folks primarily with developmental disabilities, people on the autism spectrum, people with intellectual disabilities, and developing those interventions and empirically testing them. Dr. Gillespie is very much interested in positive psychology. Why do some people have a sunny disposition that sets them up to have long and healthy lives, where other people find the darkness in the silver lining? So, how can we live better, happier lives? In terms of social psychology, Dr. Jennifer Ratcliffe is interested in, well, on one side of the coin, she's interested in prejudice, but on the other side of the coin, she's interested in groups that traditionally have not necessarily gotten along, like Israelis and Palestinians, um, Mets and Yankees fans. What are the factors that make groups who sort of historically have had some level of distrust and animosity like each other? And how can we like look at those individual differences and create greater intergroup liking? Um, Dr. Laurel McNall is an industrial organizational psychology, and she's very much psychologist, and she's very much interested in work, family, the interface between work and family, and how family life enriches your workspace, and how things going on at work enriches your family life. So both the enrichment and the tensions between those two settings. Um, Dr. Um, Amanda Lipko-Speed is a child psychologist, and she's interested in children's overconfidence. Why is it that young children predict that they know things and have skills that they don't have? And she's very much interested in this in terms of preschoolers, but I see this in my college students. They come in, they're sure that they understand the material for the test, and then they find out that they don't. Where does that overconfidence come from? And how can we help people have more realistic assessments of what they know and they don't know so that they can be more successful? Um, we just hired Dr. Caitlin Avar, who will be joining us this coming January, and she is interested in adolescent substance abuse and family factors that either set adolescents up to be more likely to engage in substance abuse or be likely to abstain. Um, we also hired Dr. Jeff Snar, who's back to clinical, and he's interested in family factors and parent attributions of children's behavior problems, and he's interested in um, the sorts of family issues that returning veterans face when they re-enter from the service. And he's got some interesting ideas about some of his future research is going to have to do with commitment therapy. I wish I knew if he were here he could describe it, but he's looking at a peer-centered sort of therapy paradigm. Dr. Wittnauer is our learning specialist, and he is very much interested in associative learning and mathematical models of psychological processes. It's funny because it sounds very complicated and scary, and he's so comfortable in himself, and he's so modest. He's just like, if I can do this, I can teach it to you. And apparently he's right, because he's got all sorts of students who never thought they'd be interested in math modeling doing mathematical psychology. We have a little knot of cognitive psychologists, Sarah Margolin and Stacy Birch, who are, and I think you saw Dr. Margolin earlier on the video, who are interested in processes underlying reading and what makes for good readers and poor readers. But everybody is willing to listen to your ideas, and oftentimes we can find that interface between the things that you're interested in, we're interested in. For example, we had a student, Danielle Simmons, who was interested in sports psychology, and she worked with Dr. Abwender on looking at cognitive problems in soccer players because they've been heading those balls. It is apparently interfering with their impulsivity. She's now a sports psychology professor at Penn State University. So we will work with you.
Great.
All right.
What are some specific examples of the varied careers your graduates have pursued, and how did your program prepare those specific students for those careers?
Okay. A lot of our students work in the developmentally disabled population, and with the rates of autism climbing, we have students who are working with state developmental disabilities offices, with organizations that work with people with autism. Many of the applied behavior analysis class helps with that, as does the practicum experience. A lot of our students become project managers for researchers at other universities, um, such as the University of Rochester. We have a number of people working in the Department of Psychiatry, managing big research projects. And of course, we have folks who go on into graduate school, clinical psychologists in the field.
Okay.
Okay, I was
Dr.
gonna say,
Brown, please feel free if there's anything else you'd like to add to wrap up the session.
I just want to finish that we've got at least 2 private practitioners in the Rochester area who are graduates of our program who got PhDs from APA approved programs, and a number of our folks have gone on to become college professors.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.